Welcome everybody to the Behind the Brand podcast. My name is Curtis and I'm the host. And today we have a brand new business in with us, or business owner, should we say. We have Steph, the Glasgow Nanny. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much for coming along and reaching out. Big shout out to Tim for obviously putting us in touch.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks very much, Tim. So, have you seen, you've kind of watched some of the podcasts before?
Yeah, I've watched some of them, just kind of let me know what I'm getting myself into here.
That's it. Yeah, it's not
it's
like
all
a
very
Lions
relaxed.
Den. That's it. It's no Lions Den. It's just a good chat. We want to find out obviously about your business and things like that and what you do, because it's so different. I don't think I've heard of any nannies as such. We were having a chat off this video to basically say what we were kind of, my thoughts on obviously nanny were and what I've been portrayed most of my life, what a nanny is and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to find exactly what you do and what it is in your eyes as well. So before we even dig into that sort of stuff, let's find out who you are. I know we've obviously discussed what your business is, but give us a wee intro. Go on, let the people know who you are.
So I'm Steph. I set up the Glasgow Nanny 18 months ago. After having 2 kids of my own, I realised I couldn't nanny full time anymore because I'd miss out on their lives, and I didn't really want to be taking other people's children to school and not taking mine to school and missing all my kids' shows and things like that. So I set up the Glasgow Nanny so I could support more families but still be there for my own.
Amazing. That is the thing as well. Like, I don't have any kids myself, but I always hear my mum and dad talking about it. My mum was a singer. She sang all her days and stuff like that, like weddings, all that sort of stuff. So it was always night time, always at weekends and things. And growing up, I always heard her saying like how much she missed us growing up and stuff like that. And she hated going away from us and being so far away. And I can only imagine that must hurt as well yourself, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not seeing them grow up, because I think kids grow up so quickly as well.
They really do.
I feel like my life's totally flew by.
I know, I said that to my daughter Jessica yesterday actually. I was like, I blinked and you were born yesterday and you're 5 now. Like,
that's
it's
crazy.
just, it goes past so quickly.
Have you got, so the age kind of difference between your two, are they quite young themselves?
So a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Oh, right, okay. So you definitely get your hands full then.
Yeah.
Who's getting the time to nanny?
I know. Well, it's good. Jessica's in school now, so that kind of frees up some time. And then I've got like grandparents about who help with my childcare, and then obviously I use some of my nannies as well when I need them. So that kind of helps let me kind of juggle work and being mum as well. And then quite a lot of the time I go out and see clients when they're in bed at night. So
you get that kind of work-life balance then?
Yeah,
That's good.
I get the best of both, which is kind of the aim, I suppose, isn't it?
I think for anything in life, definitely, you definitely want that work-life balance. You still want to have your normal things that you do.
Yeah.
And as you say, if you do have a family, or even if you don't, you work, you know what I mean, work can take over people's lives as well, and it can become quite obsessive for people as well, and people end up chasing money, but then their happiness and their mental health takes a big hit as well. So I think you've obviously you must be relieved that you've kind of did this sort of thing.
And I mean, it was never the plan to have my own business.
No.
I'd never really thought about it. Like, my husband's got a business and I can see like how hard he works and all the stresses that comes with it, and I was like, oh, I don't want any of that. And then I've kind of just done it, and it's amazing, and it's worked out like absolutely the way that I would hope any business would.
No, it definitely looks, and it looks like you've kind of got a good sort of following and things like that. When we were checking out obviously your kind of social and things, because we like to do a wee snoop, obviously, find out who you are and stuff. So it looked like you're doing absolutely fantastic. And one thing that did surprise me was the fact that you had other nannies working. Like, you have got a kind of bank of nannies, which is fantastic. I think we'll touch on obviously that kind of stuff later, because you've got a load of different services and things that you obviously offer as well. So it'd be good to kind of dig into that in just a wee bit. But I feel like we should get the backstory on how you started the Glasgow Nanny. I know you said you started from 18 months ago, but when we were chatting, obviously you've had a previous experience in childcare and things like that. So even just kind of touch from the very start. So,
I mean, from the very start, my mum had her own nursery. So I grew up in like a childcare background. Like, my mum had her own nursery. I would come home from school straight to the nursery, and I would be in the baby room pushing babies in prams, like playing with them, and it was just kind of second nature. Even my work experience, I went and worked in a nursery. And I just absolutely loved it. I got made a Play-Doh birthday cake because it was my birthday when I was in there, and it was just the best thing ever, and I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. So I started in nurseries when I was 17 doing a modern apprenticeship, and then I worked in nurseries for a few years, and then I got approached by my manager and asked if I wanted to nanny for their friends, and I thought, may as well go and have the chat. And then when I went and I had a chat with them, I thought, you know what, this is quite good. Like, I think this would work for me. So I jumped in feet first and became a nanny and absolutely loved it.
And never not looked back since?
Never.
That's brilliant.
Never. So it's been about 11 years or so since I've been a nanny. And then kind of previous to that was working in nurseries. So I've had a good kind of understanding of both sectors.
I think that's it. You better than anybody will have maybe understanding of kids and things like that. I feel like people can be quite quick to just be like, he's this and that with kids and things like that, and be quite aggressive when it comes to it as well. But you must have that kind of care behind it and know maybe how to deal with difficult situations, that stuff that you get put into with these kids as well. Yeah,
so a lot of people think that like nannying's like easy and you're just like playing with the kids, but it's so much more than that. Like, you're being an adult for them when there's no other adult there. You're being that safe space for them. Like, when they come home from school and they've had a bad day, it's you that they talk to about it, because to be honest, their parents are away and they're working, and sometimes with families, if both parents are working, it can take until like 7 o'clock before parents get home, and bedtime might be 7:30.
Yeah.
So they're not getting as much time with their parents, so they need that nanny there to be another safe space for them, that they can feel like that they're loved and that they've got a relationship, that there's trust there. They've got someone that can give them a cuddle if they fall and scratch their knee, but there's always someone that can help get homework done and help make sure that laundry's been put away. And it's literally just an extra person in the household to help the whole family run smoothly. So as much as you're there for the children, you're there for the parents as well.
That is one thing I was going to say. It can't be all about the kids, because you're again helping mums, dads and things like that with their life as well, because they'll find the stresses of, looking after kids and trying to provide for their family and things like that, and their work-life balance as well. So you're probably creating a bit of balance for them, knowing that their child is getting the best care possible. And probably, like, kids are so delicate, and you'll know that as well. And they'll say things and they'll hear things as well, and they're curious about certain things as well. So it's how you manage that. And I feel like obviously you, with your backstory and things like that, you'll have like the perfect experience for dealing with that. Yeah, it's always one thing when you start with a new family, it's kind of you need to have a chat with them, find out what like their boundaries, their beliefs, like their parenting methods, their way that they would discipline their child, all of these things, so that you can give the child a well-rounded balance of life, and like that, make sure that you're not stepping on parents' toes, that like if a child comes home going, Steph, is Santa real? You'd be like, yeah, like, yeah, Santa is real. It's so magical. And then like you kind of have to text the parents afterwards, just going like, I got the Santa question today, just a heads up, because then it's usually asked again the next morning to mum and dad, just to make sure that our answers match up, or like, and not necessarily Santa, but so many different things. And it is just to make sure that like all the parents are being consistent. Yes. Along with the nanny and what's being said, and that everyone's happy with it. You're also like doing homework and like every different aspect of a child's life, you've got a part in that. And then obviously when the fridge doesn't have milk in it, you have to run down to the shops and pick up milk and bread and eggs and all of that sort of stuff as well for them. Hope you get reambusted. yeah. Usually you have a kitty. That's good. I like that wee petty cash thing. I like that. That's good. With the kids and stuff that you deal with, obviously, because you're saying a lot of like maybe helping them out with homework and stuff like that. I'd imagine that's an older child and stuff like that. Do you have an age range that you work with? So nannies typically work pretty much from birth to 16. Right, okay. Some nannies who have maybe started with a family when they're really young stay longer and end up nannying their nanny child's children. Oh, okay. But you actually become just part of the family, probably. You do. And that's the thing, like, you do walk into a role and the first month is just finding your feet, everyone just kind of working out how it all works and where the balance is, and then you do become part of the family really, really quickly.
get invited on holidays and do all of that sort of nice thing, get invited out for birthday dinners and all of that. So it is really nice. It's really rewarding.
Yeah.
But again, when it ends, it's really quite heartbreaking. When you need
for you and the family as well. Like, not just
sometimes it is like the children start school, so they don't actually need a nanny full time anymore, and the hours aren't really there to keep a nanny for an hour in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. It's quite hard to fill those positions, so that's generally kind of school wraparound care that would take over then. So it is really sad to see them go, but I'm still in touch with every single family that I've ever worked with, which is really nice. Some of them came and saw my girls when they were born, like the night that we got home from hospital, and we still do Easter eggs and Christmas presents and all of that sort of stuff. So it's really nice.
You're really just a part of the family then.
Yeah.
You really have. And I think like, regardless of the time if you spent with them, if it's, you know what I mean, if you're only with the family for, say, a year, or you're only with the family for a month, you know what I mean? You don't know. I'd imagine you probably get like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you get like temporary roles, yeah.
So regardless of that, you still made an impact on that family's life and helped them out at some point when they obviously needed help. As well. Yeah, sometimes it's more for the childcare, and sometimes it's because the parent needs the support. Sometimes it could be a single parent and they just need an extra pair of hands around the house just to help with the running of everything. Or it could just be two working parents and they just need someone there that's there for their children. I think that's it, because I think we all sometimes take like our mums and dads for granted sometimes, and people always just rely on grandparents and things like, my mum and dad will pick up the kid and stuff, but like I'm very lucky. My mum and dad are very young as well, and both still work full time. You know what I mean? They've got a good few years before they retire. I hope they like that comment and feel good about themselves. So I'm like, they don't have the time to be going and, you know what I mean, babysitting, or, you know what I mean, and going and doing all these, you know what I mean, being a nanny and picking up kids from school and helping them with the homework, because even probably I would be like, God knows what I'm even doing here. So I feel like services like this could be so beneficial to most families, definitely.
Yeah, and it's nannies, the nanny industry is overlooked quite a lot. A lot of people think it's only for people who are wealthy, or that it's a luxury to have, but it's not really. Like, some of the families I've worked for, like, both parents are working hard, like, and it's because what they're wanting is something that's more bespoke for their children. And sometimes as well, if you have more than 2 children, a nanny can actually work out cheaper than sending 3 children to nursery or wraparound care or these sorts of things. So
these after school cares, like, they can be quite costly.
And especially if you've got 2 nursery and 1 in after school, that's quite a lot of money each month.
It definitely builds up, and I think people then need to realise, and I think obviously getting in touch with yourself as well, because it's not just you, which leads us on obviously your kind of services and things like that. It's obviously not just you happen to have a bank of nannies and things like that. That's one of your kind of services that you offer. So one of the services we offer is like a nanny matching service. So a family would get in touch with me, tell me what their childcare needs are, and then I would match them up with one of my nannies. So I've got around 400 plus nannies that are registered with me. Incredible.
It all started with a Facebook group, and then when I said that I was starting the business, they were all like, right, well, we support you.
And when was that kind of made? Like, was that a while ago? Like, if you had this?
So the Facebook group's been going for about 5 years.
Brilliant.
So I just set that up to connect with other nannies and to like beach
have a chit chat and probably
like
share ideas and things like that.
And just like meet up, because it's all Glasgow based, Glasgow and surrounding nannies who are in the group, and it is just like someone might go, oh right, well, we've not got anything planned today, is anyone free and want to meet up? And it could be a nanny who's actually 3 streets away, and they didn't even know that each other were working in the same street or like in the same wee block, and then they'll go, all right, okay, will we just meet at the local park? Or like, will we go down to the farm? Or will we go and do this? And they end up making friends, because nannying can be quite lonely when you're working on your own and it's just you and the kids. Like, sometimes you need that adult conversation. I
was going to say that, because it must be hard. Like, I mean, you're probably having to watch what you're saying around the kids and things like that as well.
Well, you can be with them for like up to 12 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
So it is like, it can be very long days. And if you've not got other adult company in that time, like, it can get quite lonely, and you, like, a lot of nannies can be like, this is like, I'm getting a wee bit burnt out now, and like, I need. It's
kind of like their respite, kind of touch, you know what I mean? Their chance to kind of break away from the world of nanny. Such, you know what I mean? Working and
while you're with the nanny children, you're being able to meet up with another nanny and their children, and generally you would meet up with a nanny that's got children the same age, around about the same age, so that the children are getting to play and they're getting to have that socialisation, and like they're getting to make friends as well.
That's nice.
So again,
so building up relationships again for them, and you know what I mean, so that they're maybe not lonely.
Yeah.
As a kid as well, you know what I mean? Because I'd imagine you'll get kids from different backgrounds and things like that as well, and bringing them together might actually help them, and when they grow up as well.
Yeah, so some families it is like a lone child, in other families there might be 5 or 6. So really,
you must have
it
your
is
hands full with that.
yeah. So yeah, it is like being able to, especially if it's like an only child, like being able to then go on play dates and things like that is giving them that time to actually learn how to share and like learn how to take turns and all of these different developmental milestones that children need to learn how to do to become fully formed adults. A lot of that's learned in childhood. So as a nanny, you're able to kind of arrange and organise different opportunities for these things to happen.
So how would someone then come into you that's maybe is a nanny or is thinking of becoming a nanny? What would be the sort of thing that you would do with them? Would you get like a kind of interview process with them? Yeah,
so I would do like all of my nannies, they've been interviewed. I've met every single one of them. I only take them on if I would leave my children with them as well. Okay. Because I feel as if I wouldn't take them, then why would I give them? Exactly. So yeah, I do background checks. They get full PVGs done. First, they're put through first aid if they haven't done it already. I check all of their references, get ID checks, like driving license checks, like absolutely everything I can check. I check.
Aye, of course.
Because I don't want a year down the line or even 6 months, a month down the line, something to flag up that I've not checked. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's my name that's on it.
And it just bounces back to you, and anything goes wrong, it just looks bad in your brand.
It's me that's going to get the bad review, not that nanny. They might get a bad reference.
Yeah,
but it's me at the end of the day that has put them in touch with that family. So, I just do all my due diligence and make sure that everyone's checked. And
that's incredible, though. 400 plus nannies.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
It's good, and I mean they're not all.
That's bigger than I'm
not managing them all every day. A lot of them are in full-time placements, or they're maybe doing ad hoc work or things like that. So like if say you wanted to hire a nanny for the night, so you could go to the cinema for dinner, then I could then reach out to my group of nannies and be like, right, okay, I need someone for this time, this date, and this location, and they go, right, okay, I'm available for that. And then I can then match them up with that family for that specific job. Mm-hmm. And then there's other times where a temporary placement or a permanent placement would come up, and then we would kind of see who's available, who's interested in the role, because there's some nannies who go, no, I'll only nanny boys, and then there's other nannies who only really want to work with babies, and then there's other nannies who would prefer to work with older children, just because that's their preference. Maybe
they're more skilled in that area.
Yeah, and they've maybe got more experience in that area, so they feel more confident working with children of that area. And then there's other nannies who are like Mary Poppins and just do it all.
Wee spoonful of sugar.
Exactly.
So obviously that's kind of one of your services that you obviously offer, the kind of nanny sort of thing. What other sort of things are you doing with the kind of Glasgow Nanny at the minute? So
the other kind of services I offer are sleep therapy. So I'm a qualified sleep therapist. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. I'm also an infant feeding specialist and breastfeeding counsellor. So I'll go out and help parents. It's usually kind of newborns or kind of in the first 6 months, where parents may be having a wee bit of issue with maybe the breast latch, or just they feel as if their supply's not that great, or the baby's maybe not putting enough weight on, or these sorts of things, and they're starting to worry. And like, as much as health visitors are absolutely amazing, they've not got enough time to spend with families, which is really, really sad.
And allocated windows.
They literally get 10 to 15 minutes, and their caseloads are just doubling. So they're not getting the time to put in. And I know that they want to. They just don't have
that resource.
There's not enough of them to be able to do it. There's not enough job spaces for them to do it, but that's another whole political thing that we don't need to go.
You could just dig right deep into that,
I really could. So that's where I come in. It could be that a parent's wanting to go from breast to introducing a bottle because it's time to go back to work and they can't be there all the time to feed their baby when they're back at work. Or it could be really anything to do with infant feeding, weaning, anything like that. I'll offer that service as the first visit's free, because I feel as if it's a service that everybody should be able to get access to, whether you've got loads of money or whether you're on universal credit or you're rubbing 2 pennies together and hope it makes a pound. Like, it is something that, like, you should be able to access. So I want to make that available to anyone who needs it. And then if anyone wants follow-up visits, I only charge £40 for it.
Brilliant.
Because I want it to still be affordable. If it was somebody who, say, really couldn't afford to pay that, then I'm not going to go, no, I'm not helping you. Like, it is about that I'm there to support parents, and it's predominantly mothers that I work with because, well, they're the ones with boobs.
They're the ones that are doing it. Yeah, but that's it.
But then there is families that say that they're formula feeding and the baby's not settled or something like that, and I'm working with both parents just to be able to kind of find the right routes. And I work out what the kind of root cause of the issue is, and we'll work on that to then make improvements. Well,
that's it as well, because obviously when it comes to parenthood, most of the time it's a two person thing there, especially that early stage of the newborn. Like, I would feel like the other half, whoever it may be, dad, other mum, whatever it is, really has to kind of step up and do that. So I feel like if that was kind of me, I'd be like, what am I meant to do here? And it would be good to have that wee bit of guidance to basically be like, this is maybe a way to do it, you know what I mean? Maybe look at what I'm doing and stuff like that. So I feel like, again, it's one of these services that I think it benefits everyone, to be fair, regardless if you're on your own or you're a couple or whoever it is and you're doing this for the first time as well. So
so like I have a like newborn parent kind of visit that I can do as well. So it's literally, you get home from the hospital, you get yourself settled. I've been in hospital after births just to kind of help like prepare parents for like, oh my goodness, the baby's here now, what do we do? Usually it's at home. I'll go and visit them, and then they'll have a list of questions on their phone of like, right, okay, what can we, like, what's this? And like, right, okay, so like, how do we bath our baby? No one's shown us how to bath our baby. Going, right, okay, I've never changed a nappy before. Like, I've been watching videos, but like, I've never actually done it. So like,
all these questions,
can you walk me through that? Or like, how do I swaddle my baby? Like,
how do you what, sorry?
Swaddle.
Swaddle?
Yeah, so just a way of wrapping your baby so they feel all nice and secure.
I'm so uneducated, it's unreal. I definitely know if I ever have a kid, you'll be the one I'm calling now. Definitely. So
it is like, there's so many things that you feel as if you're prepared because you've maybe like watched some YouTube videos or you've read a book or something like that. But see, until that baby's actually physically in your arms, you get this wee moment of going, oh, what am I doing? Like, I don't like... Well, like, did we make a mistake? Like, or like, you just have this wee moment of panic. And then for someone like myself to come in and just help calm and ground and like answer the questions. And sometimes it's questions that parents might feel a wee bit nervous to say, ask their health visitor, to ask the midwife, just in fear that they might get judged for not knowing. And I always kind of say, no question's a silly question.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
The amount of photos that I get sent of dirty nappies going, is this normal? Or like the amount of like questions I get about like, oh, they've got this little spot on their cheek, like, is that normal? Is this a rash? Like, do we need to go? Like, it's these sorts of things that sometimes you just need someone to tell you, yeah, it's okay, it's normal. Like,
do you feel like sometimes there's a wee bit kind of boundaries issue though, sometimes with your clients and stuff? Obviously, you don't have to name anybody or give an example, but I'm just
not
curious
really.
to know.
Like, I like to have that kind of, you're speaking to a friend. Like, as much as like I'm a professional, I'm a service that you've hired to come in. Like, I want the families to feel as if they're talking to someone that they've known for years. and because it makes them feel comfortable, makes them feel relaxed. And many of them I still see, like I still talk to, like we go for coffee and we'll go for walks in the park or play dates, and it's really nice, and I get to see them as they grow up, and as they develop as parents as well, like the adults. So it's really nice having that. And then it might tail off for a while, and then they'll come back and go, Steph, my baby's not sleeping now. I need help.
You never really let go. You're always kind of reel back in.
Yeah, but that's nice, and it gives parents, it's like a one-stop shop for what parents need as a support. Like, I'm there when the baby's born. I'm there when you need help with feeding. I'm there when you need help with sleep, and then I'm there to help you find childcare.
Do it all.
Yeah.
Do it all. It's the more obviously hearing about it, it's such a great service. Like I've never heard of anybody doing this sort of thing before. It's such, like, I've heard of people babysitting and things like that, but when you think of nannying, and we were kind of talking about it, like I just get the American thing where we think of nannying, the way they go about it there, but really it's
totally
I mean
different. the nanny industry in America is huge. It's absolutely huge, and there's some amazing nannies in America. There's the International Nanny Association, which is a worldwide association for nannies. It's absolutely amazing. And then there's nannies in London, there's nannies in Scotland, there's nannies everywhere. But movies portray nannies as something completely different to what they actually are. Like, I mean, I think the truest representation is probably Mary Poppins, apart from the dancing penguins.
And probably go jumping in the colouring books and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean...
well, you could do that with imagination.
Use your imagination.
That is so true.
You're only limited by your imagination.
Well, oh God, don't look inside my brain then, honestly. You'd be there for days. You'd be like, what's going on here? One thing I would love to touch upon, because I feel like, again, it would benefit, especially... new parents into it, because I feel like I always hear people talking about when they become parents that's their life. They can't go out and do anything. They can't go out to the thing because they've got to look after the kid. And you kind of briefly touched upon it, like the cinemas and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'd seen that you were doing like a kind of party sort of thing. Yeah,
so I do like wedding and event nannies.
So what kind of goes on there then?
So like if you were getting married and you were going to have children at your wedding, a team of us would come out, depending on how many children, would depend on how many nannies. We'd set up a whole children's area, TPs, soft plays. We've got mini cinemas. We've got bouncy castle as well. Like whatever. I've been sent Pinterest boards going, can you do something like this for me, please? And I can do it.
So you're basically running activities for kids?
Yeah.
Is that to kind of keep them occupied during it? Or is it
kids aren't meant to sit still. So sitting through a ceremony or sitting through speeches, like, children get bored.
And it's not nice as well, I think, because a lot of the time, you know what I mean, especially with newborns and stuff like that as well. I know they're different to maybe toddlers and things, but newborns and stuff, they maybe tend to like have a wee cry or whatever during it as well. And you then see the person actually having to get up and leave because they feel like they're, you know what I mean, either they're taking over the wedding or it's ruining it or something like that. So again, would that be something that you would maybe do?
Yeah, so with kind of up to the age of 1, we would usually have a 1-to-1 service, because children under 1 have very different needs than other children and other ages. So like each age group's got different ratios so that we can meet the needs of the children. So like a baby at a wedding, we would kind of do a 1-to-1 with that family, and during ceremonies, during speeches, during meals, during any of the parts of the wedding where the parents want to be involved and they want to be focused on what's going on around them, then the nanny would then either take the child away or they would stay with them. But then if they got a wee bit upset or a wee bit fussy, then the nanny can then take them away to another area to then keep them entertained and to keep them happy, give them a bottle, take them for a walk to get them down for a nap, or keep them in their routine as much as possible. And then come bedtime, the nannies would take the children up to bed and stay with them until either a designated adult took over, usually a grandparent or an auntie, or we can stay until the next morning and take them down for breakfast.
There you go. Honestly, that's brilliant. I feel like that again benefits so many people, because I'm like, how many times do you go to a wedding as well? And you know what people are like? It can be. I hate going to places where they're like the kids have to leave after a certain time as well. I'm like, it's just not fair, because then the families then all have to go and leave, and then what happens to the person is they go, everybody's left my party, and it's like, well, obviously kids aren't allowed, so again I'm like, you step in, you help them out, and again creating, as I say, the help for the families as well.
So we get booked quite a lot by the bride and groom. Like what I've noticed is since lockdown, a lot of people who were getting married, their weddings were postponed, and then they're like, well, that's then postponing us having children even longer. So then they're having their children during this lockdown period, and then they're thinking, like, well, we'll just get married again when we can get another date. So then they've got young children who they need cared for, and granny doesn't want to do it because she'll miss out on the wedding, or the bridesmaids don't want to do it because they want to party. And it is just that, like, we can then be there and the bride and groom can enjoy their day knowing that their child's safe and that their child's not just getting passed around and they go, I thought you had him. Like, oh no, I gave them to, do you know what I mean? It is like and then there's a bit of panic. Whereas if the nanny's there, then it's giving the parents and the bride and groom that peace of mind that they know where their child is and they know that the child's safe. We'll get told, right, okay, well, they're needed for this photograph and this photograph, they're needed at this time, or mum sometimes likes to do a first dance with their child, which is really lovely. And then so we know, even if we've taken them up to the room for kind of some calm time, if it's got a wee bit crazy, then we know, right, okay, well, first dance is going to be at, say, 7:15, so we can get them all ready and take them down for that, and then we can take them back up to bed and then get them settled and get them down for the night. Or we can get booked by guests. And sometimes it is we get booked by guests to stay in accommodation so that they can go to the wedding, and we'll look after the children at the accommodation. Or sometimes it is, can you come with us so that we can then enjoy the nighttime part, and then you can take the kids up to bed and we know that everyone's safe. And it is peace of mind for the parents, but the children are also having the best time too. Yeah,
and that's it. They're not getting, because I think as well, like those sort of events can be a lot for kids as well.
They can be
There's
really
a lot
overwhelming.
going on, very long as well, periods where they could be standing, doing all sorts. They start to get that tired way, grumpy, maybe the routine's been changed as well. The lights, even everything to do with it, and getting dolled up and dressed up as well. Like, I mean, what kid wants to do that?
No kid wants
like,
to be in a suit all day or a dress that's really, really tight. Like most kids, if you ask them, they'd be quite happily rock up to a wedding in their jammies, 100%. Like, or joggies.
Even I would love to rock up to a wedding.
I know. It is like, it's not norm for children to be in a wedding situation. It's a very long day for them. It's very overstimulating. It's very overwhelming. Think about, like, if you go to a party, like, and it's like there's loads of friends there, but then there's loads of people you haven't seen in a long time, and everyone wants to come and talk to you all at the once, or one after each other. You're like a wee bit, whoa, like,
a wee bit kind of like,
I need a wee bit space.
Like,
and even as an adult, you can feel like that. So imagine a child who doesn't actually understand it. Like it's really hard for them, and sometimes they just need that breather. Sometimes they just need to go for a wee walk. Sometimes they just need to get outside. And it's our job as the nanny at the wedding to be able to read that and to be able to go, right, okay, I think it's getting a wee bit over, like, maybe let's go outside for a walk, or do you want to go and run out in the grass? Or like if it's at a beach setting, we'll go and throw some stones into the water. And like sometimes it is just that can just help them like regulate again. And it's so hard, like, for them to be on all the time.
They'll have that wee build up of emotions that they'll have to get out. And obviously if they do that at the wedding, people would be like, oh, come on, really? And what stuff like that. And so I'm like, that is again such a fantastic idea as well, because I feel like that would help so many people. A great service, to be fair, to have. Was that kind of something you kind of implemented kind of early on?
I'd never planned to do it, never. And then I just got asked if I could do it. And then I thought, you know what, actually, because the amount of weddings I've been to with my children, where my husband's been missed half of it because he's out in a different bit of the hall because I'm part of the wedding party, or because I've got one of them and he's got the other one, or we were actually at my sister's wedding and I ended up taking her wee one, and I was extremely pregnant with Emily, and Jessica was with my husband, and we missed most of the speeches and most of the ceremony because we were away with all of the children. But it's kind of the nanny in me. I kind of always end up doing that, even if I'm not employed at the wedding. I always end up being the one taking the kids out and making sure that they're okay and they're entertained, and kind of missing the party side of it.
You must love your job.
Oh, I love it.
You've got to.
I love it. Every single second of it.
It's just one of the things, like, I think either you would love that or you wouldn't
Yeah, I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to work with children, and like you need to be calm. You need to be like really passionate about it. Like you can't just go into it going, oh, like it's easy, like because it's not. Children aren't easy. They're so complex, and it's actually understanding that like makes it enjoyable to work in. And it's like just seeing their smiley faces and they're laughing. And my favourite thing ever is like, see when someone just hands me their baby. I'm just like, oh, baby cuddles. Like, I don't need any more kids. Like, I get everyone else's kids and I get all their cuddles. So I'm quite happy.
That's amazing, though. As well as that, like, obviously you've got the best of both worlds there because you have your own kids as well, but you'll be impacting so many other kids' lives as well by doing this as well. And good on you for obviously for doing it as well. Have you got any plans for the Glasgow Nanny? Have you got any future plans, or are you quite happy with kind of what you've built at the moment? And
so I kind of, where I'm at just now is kind of where I plan to be in year 5.
Right, okay.
So it
and
has
you're only
like
you're in month 18.
Yeah. So it has like, it's grown arms and legs really, really quickly, and I love it because I'm not somebody that can just sit still. Yep. Like I'm always on the go, and like all of my friends go, Steph, please rest. Like you need to rest. You need to like.
You're one of the ones, if you start to rest, there's definitely something wrong. Is that what it is?
I mean, I was up until 2:00 this morning making a Burns Day outfit for my daughter because the teacher reminded me that it was Burns Day and that they were to wear tartan, and I thought all I have is this big bit of tartan material that was actually in my loft from 17 years ago when I was in a nursery and I did the Burns Day display, and it just clicked in my head, oh, I've got that in the loft. So I found an old jumper, made a skirt and attached it, and
that's like one of those stories where it's like you're going to throw it out and like people being hoarders and stuff like that. You're like, I'll have a purpose for it one day.
Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, I don't keep everything, but like, I mean, a piece of tartan, you're like, that will come in handy at some point in my life.
All the time, tartan, 100%. Yeah. Especially days like this, you know what I mean, Burns Day as well.
Exactly.
So no, 100%. That's brilliant. What did you make then? Like a kind of dress?
So
or skirt
it was like a jumper, and then it had like, so it was almost like a drop hem. And a kind of the tartan skirt, a cream jumper. I put some tartan around the collar and then made a bow for her hair.
She would have loved that. I guarantee you.
I mean, it wasn't by any means perfect. It was a wee bit squiggly because I mean it was 2:00 in the morning and I was knackered. But she was happy this morning and walked into school and went, my mum's been up since 2:00 making all of this for me, and did a twirl, and her head teacher loved it. So
well, she's obviously proud of you.
Yes.
Because she's shouting her
and that's all that matters. It put a smile on her face this morning, even if I was like, I need some caffeine.
Oh, I love it. I've just pictured it. It'd be absolutely amazing as well. You've been absolutely fantastic. Is there anything that you want to bring up regarding your business? You've kind of got a chance here, like a free rein. So
I mean, I don't know. It feels as if we've covered quite a lot. Like, a lot of people don't realise that there's so many different things that I offer. One of the other things that I've been doing kind of, I would say more recently, I've done it for the last 17 years working with families, but more recently I've been getting phone calls or messages from parents that they've maybe got an older child that they're struggling a wee bit with, like behaviour or their emotions. They're just kind of, maybe, I hate the word tantrum because it's not a tantrum, it's just them not knowing how to express themselves. Okay. But it's also the parents not knowing how to deal with it. Yeah. So I'm getting quite a lot of calls and messages about that just now. So it is something that I've started to introduce, that I'll go round and have a chat with the parents first, because I feel as if no one wants to hear that someone's disappointed in them or someone's struggling with them or something like that. So having that conversation with the parents away from the child, we do that, and then I'll go and I'll meet the child. I'll just go around to the house, and it's almost like I've gone round to see mum and dad and hope that they'll invite me to play, and then I'll go and play with them, and I get to see a wee bit about them, get to see their temperament, get to see like their behaviours, get to see kind of how long their attention span is, like what it is that's kind of making them feel that overwhelm, or what's making them feel like dysregulated, or all of these sorts of things, so that then I can help the parent understand that, and then find a way to help the parent manage that and the expectations of like, well, they have been in school all day and they've had to be good all day, and now they're home in their safe space and they just need to let it out, and home is their safe space, and usually it is mum that gets the brunt of it, because mums seem to be like the person that the child turns to the most, even for boys and for girls. I mean, even my husband says that, like, when I walk through the door, both of my girls just go, ah! And it is almost like, right, mum's home, I can let it all out now. But like, it is something that parents do struggle with, and no one wants to be shouting at their children or kind of feel as if they're losing it. No one wants to wake up in the morning going, I hope my child's good today, or like, I really don't want to have to shout today. No one wants that. So I kind of go in and then I help with just finding the balance and finding ways of dealing with it. And like, right, if your child's acting like this, like what is it they're really needing? Yeah. What is it they need? Do they need a hug? Do they need to scream it out? Do they need like you to allow them to just get it out and then talk to them about it and see what it is, and then help them find a way for dealing with that in the future. And it is about learning. Every single stage of your child developing, you need to learn them again. Yeah. And it is just sometimes having someone coming in and going, okay, you are an amazing parent. Like, you just sometimes need that wee bit of hand holding just to get through this wee hurdle. And then I'm your biggest cheerleader throughout the whole thing. So you feel as if, yay, I've achieved this.
Again, it's impacting the parents, you know what I mean, as much as it is the child.
Yeah.
With the services that you offer and the expertise that you maybe have.
Yeah.
And this as well, like kids as well, when they grow through different ages, are so funny. You know what I mean? They go through that toddler stage to the young person age to then the teenager age as well. And that obviously is difficult. We forget sometimes that we were kids once. Yeah. And that we've grew up like that. But I wouldn't know how to handle that, because I've been a teenager. I know exactly what teenagers do, and I know exactly the tempers that they can have, but I've never had to experience a time where I've had to deal with that as well. You know what I mean?
And it can be a trigger for parents. Yeah. It can be a trigger because they remember a time when they acted like that and how their parents dealt with it, or how an authority figure dealt with it. So in their head, they're like, it builds up that stress, and it builds up the cortisol levels in their body, that it's like they're kind of, it becomes like a fight or flight situation, where they either shout or they go, it's okay, like I'll help you all, like, and it is just that, like, not actually knowing the right response for your child at that time. Yep. And it is about learning the child again. So I'm there to, like, there's no one size fits all at all with children. Every child's different, every child's unique at every single stage of their life. A 2-year-old, when they become 7, is a completely different child. So the way that you deal with them then is, they've developed so much in that time that you can't deal with the way that a tantrum, or like a kind of overflow of emotions, or like the child kind of not being able to regulate themselves. The way at 2 they do that, and the way at, say, 7 that they do that, is so different, and what they need at that time is so different. So it is just kind of helping parents understand that, and helping parents understand their child at that time.
Amazing. It's such a big thing, because you're all going to have to go through it if you're a parent. You know what I mean? You're going to have to go through the different ages and things like that, and you're going to have to work on it, and just, again, getting that wee bit of support. You know what I mean? You don't have to go into it alone. You don't have to do it. Yeah, you can research and do certain stuff, but I always prefer having the one-to-one personal kind of touch with it as well, because I feel like you could spend hours reading so many things. But
I mean, the minute you go into Google, I always kind of say to parents, don't Google things, because as soon as you start Googling something, you end up going down this like rabbit hole of like everything, and then it always ends up going, well, it could be cancer.
Yeah.
And then you just go like, you don't like, and I hate it. It could be like, why is like my child like not eating their peas?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, something's seriously wrong with them. And you go, well, they just don't like peas.
I was going to say a lot. That's probably one of the biggest things. Just before we finish up, was just a wee touch on it, because I feel like a lot of maybe you must deal with a lot of kids that maybe come across with like autism and ADHD, and that. Do you find that a lot of parents maybe struggle with that because maybe the child hasn't been diagnosed, or do you feel like because we're in this kind of modern time now where it's maybe more easy to identify as such? Just even your opinion, like.
Yeah, so I think parents will maybe have an idea, or they might think, right, okay, well, they're maybe showing signs or traits, or these sorts of kind of words that kind of get associated with autism or ADHD, and other spectrum things, that it is like parents might think something, or they might not realise, and then it's not until they go to nursery or they go to school that it kind of maybe gets brought up at a parent-teacher meeting or something like that, and then it's kind of finding their way around all. There is so many support groups out there for parents. I know that, like, kind of as soon as like a diagnosis is made, it can sometimes be really hard to get a diagnosis.
Yep.
I know that with autism, they'll not even consider it until like they're in nursery, like until they're around about 3-4. They'll not even consider it, which is such a shame, because if that had been kind of diagnosed earlier, or if the parent had even been given a wee bit of support, going, okay, this might be it, but we can't diagnose it, but here are some things, here's a toolbox that you could use to help you understand and help you support your child in the best way. I'm dyslexic. I never got diagnosed dyslexic until I was 9, and my mum had to do that privately because the school refused to.
It's unreal, isn't it? Yeah.
And then my brother's also dyslexic, and my mum got us a tutor who helped us, and she specialised in children with dyslexia. And I met her, one of her grandchildren actually went to nursery that I worked in. So I was able to actually thank her and be like, you made such a difference, like by teaching me wee tricks and traits, like to like how to remember how to spell a word, or like how to actually concentrate, how to read a book and use my imagination, because I would get given a book and I couldn't get past like 3 pages. So she gave me this book that was like, after like every 3 lines, it would give you an option of like A, B, or C. And then if you chose A, then it would tell you to go to another page. And it was almost like this wee adventure book, and every time you read it, it was a different journey that you went on. They actually made a TV show like a few years ago, very similar.
Right, okay.
I'm sure it was on Netflix. I remember going, Nick, this was like the book that I was telling you about. I don't know if I'm sure my mum will still have this book somewhere, so I need to try and dig it out. But it was amazing. And now I absolutely love reading. Like, I always read James Patterson books. He writes with a lot of dyslexic writers. So the chapters are really short. They're only like 2-3 pages. So you're reading it and it's almost like a movie, so it's really cool. But I study a lot more now. Like in school, I struggled so much to study, whereas it's been since I've left school, because I found something I love. Like I study brain development, I study like child development, I study child psychology, like therapies for children. Like I do all of that because I love it, and I want to be able to support the parents and the families. And because it's something I love, I can focus on it and I can actually enjoy it and actually retain that information.
Rather than it being a chore.
Rather than it being a chore, it's something that is like making what I can provide even better.
I love that, because you've got the full kind of 360.
Yeah.
Where how it started and now.
Yeah, I kind of rambled a wee bit though.
No, listen, that is exactly what this is. This is all about. And I am so sure that somebody listening to this will have a similar story, and might resonate with them, and they'll be able to go, that is exactly how I felt at one stage of my life. You have been a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
It's been amazing to hear your story and your journey, and how amazing you've done in such a short space of time as well, in 18 months. And I can only imagine what you'll be like at the 5-year point. I mean, you'll be running the show. You'll be the top.
No, I want to keep it so that like I'm still being able to go out and actually support parents, and like I'd love to be able to train more people up to be able to do what I do, but I can't replicate me.
Yes, everybody will have their own
way of doing it
things,
and all of that sort of stuff, but I want to still be able to, like, no matter whether it's like in 5 years time, 10 years time, I want to still be the person that can go out and actually support the families. It's not so much about the business growth and the money side of things. It's about supporting people and just making parents realise how amazing they actually are, because they judge themselves so much. Like, even me as a parent, I judge myself. Like, I go on social media and go, how's she up and made the bed, got the kids' uniforms all like out the night before, done all of this sort of stuff? Like, I can't do that. Like, that's just not me. Like, I'll stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning making a dress for my child, but like, ask me to lay a uniform out the night before, no. Like, I'm looking for like socks and pants in the morning.
Sometimes with social media, people can portray things as well.
They'll put out things to make it look perfect, and it's not really. But then when parents are looking at that, they think that they need to be that, and they put those pressures on themselves as well. So I'm there to be like, no, like, that's not reality. This is reality.
Nobody's ever perfect.
Exactly. There's no such thing as perfect. Like, there's always room for improvement. There's always ways to like get better stuff. Like, there are periods of times where I'll be super organised and do that, but that lasts maybe like 3 days. And then it goes back to like
stage at some point.
Yeah, you go, right, I'm really going to try, and then it just doesn't last. But like, that's not what's important. What's important is your children and your family, and that you as a parent are happy, and that like it's all just kind of
100%. Because if you're not happy, how's your kid meant to be happy?
Yeah, you're teaching your child, you're modelling that behaviour, and your child's picking up on that. So if you're,
it's all about feelings and stuff like that. I mean, the kids always pick up exactly how you feel as well. And later on in life, they'll pick up the same kind of mannerisms and things that you do as well. So so sorry. What I think as well, because obviously we want to find out how we can connect with you online. Something that we always tend to do here. So we'd love to know your socials, and if you have maybe, I don't know, like an address or an email address as such that maybe somebody thinking of getting into nanny and things like that, or currently does it but is looking to grow their network as well, how they would get in touch with you.
Okay, so on my website there's like different pages. It is going to be getting updated soon, because this was like a made in very quick period of time when I just started out and wasn't actually sure where everything was going to go and what everything was going to do. But there is a form on my website for parents to contact me for the different services, and then there's a form for nannies as well. So if a nanny wanted to get in touch or wanted to register, then they can fill all of that form in, or they can contact me on social media or even WhatsApp. Like, I'll answer them all. So social medias, Instagram is at _Glasgow_nanny. Facebook is just the Glasgow Nanny, and the website is theglasgownanny.com.
There you go. Simple and easy as that. It's good that you've kept them all the same anyway. So
I mean, I would forget them.
I always find that people change like their usernames on like the Insta and the Facebooks, and I'm like, oh, don't do that, because then people will be struggling to find you. But that's perfect. It's simple and easy as well. Do you find that somebody stole the Glasgow Nanny? Is that why you having to do the underscores?
Well, I just couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Somebody stole it.
But
Give
I mean,
it back.
I've searched for it, and I've not seen anything come up, so I don't know.
Somebody will
but
have that
if someone's out there and has that, I'd quite like it, please.
Please give us it. Yeah, you've got the contact details. You can pass it
get in
over.
touch.
Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much for coming as well. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in here.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
And such a great chat as well. And I feel like people watching this as well, because I mean, everybody hopefully at some point will come across being a new parent as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like a service like this would be absolutely a lifesaver, I think, for a lot of families. And it was amazing just to hear your story as well.
Thank you.
And about your life. So just, folks, thanks so much for listening in and watching. If you've really enjoyed the podcast, like I have, and I'm sure Rebecca has as well, then please feel free to drop us a wee subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a follow. There's also the rating option there as well, so you can leave a like on YouTube, but a 5-star review on Spotify would be much appreciated, because that would push this podcast out there for everybody to hear, especially in the Glasgow area. As I say, you know somebody this will benefit someone, 100% it will, and it's such a great service and definitely needed, I believe as well, and I'm glad that I now know of something like this as well, because I feel like I could recommend to families and things like that I know. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again in one of the next episodes. Thanks very much, Steph.
Thank you.